Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe football show. It's Thursday, the 17th of August, and in just a little over 24 hours, Leeds United will be playing their third championship game of the season. Ellen Road, Friday night, under the lights. Come on, the mighty Whites. But we're not here to talk about that game. We're going to be talking about that later on tonight, as well as the White Rose rivals, which will be hitting out at 6 p.m. So make sure you've got notifications on. And while you're doing that, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and of course, get your comments in. This might seem mad. The thumbnail might seem mad, but it's got legs. So without further ado, let's get into it. Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Okay, folks, so previously, just a little over a week ago, we've seen Meslier linked to Real Madrid. Now, of course, as a Leeds United fan, I'm like, what? It's silly season, it's transfer season. It really is like crazy time. Now, I'm not saying Real Madrid was interested in Meslier, but what's developed over the last hour, it could well be that Leeds United offered Meslier to Real Madrid. And the reason I say that is, well, basically, Florian Plettenberg at Plettigo, which I'm talking is like tier 1 journalism. We're talking like Fabrizio Romano levels here, yeah? We're talking David Ornstein levels here. Has basically mentioned about Stefan Ortega was due to move to Bayern Munich. Now, it looks like this deal could well be off, as you can see from the tweet. And the reason that it could be off is because Guardiola and Man City are not willing to let him go because they want to make sure they have an adequate number 2. Because, I mean, Stefan Ortega was tasked with even playing in the FA Cup final last season, of which, of course, Man City beat Manchester United 2-1. This was a historic treble, and Pep Guardiola was willing to go without Edison for that game because Ortega had played a number of cup games and played a couple in the league, obviously played in the Community Shield more recently as well. So Pep Guardiola is a massive fan of Stefan Ortega. I watch a lot of content and I've heard Huey and LB talk glowingly about Stefan Ortega as well. So it's understandable that Pep would want to keep him around the place. But of course, Bayern are pushing for the signing. Now, what Florian Plettenberg goes on to say is that clearly clubs have been alerted to this fact and are approaching Manchester City and saying, well, we have a goalkeeper you could take. And that player, of course, is Meslier, which makes sense. He brings in a transfer fee. Leeds United have brought in Carl Darlow. They obviously see him as the main number 1 and may start on Friday. But I just thought it was quite interesting that Leeds United are touting out Meslier's services. Now, Meslier, of course, said before, yeah, I'd go to Chelsea, but, you know, I'm not about to be no one's number 2. But that's probably different when City come calling. And as we've seen with Ortega's minutes last season, you do play heavily in the Cups. Now, whether or not Pep Guardiola thinks Meslier's of a sufficient quality to start in goal in them cup games for Manchester City remains to be seen. And as it stands, the move for Ortega to Bayern is off. But you can never say never. But I think the key thing for Leeds United fans to remember in this situation is the fact that Meslier is being touted out. It's no coincidence that Courtois gets injured and all of a sudden Meslier is linked to Real Madrid. I didn't think that deal would ever happen. They've took Kepa, but isn't it interesting that at the same time Ortega's moving to Bayern and City have said, we're not sure because we need a better number 2. Florian Plettenberg says Meslier, plus many others, has been offered to City. So that's clear that Leeds United are up for a sale. They want to bring some money in. His agent's probably touting him out as well. Chelsea could still be an option for Meslier because they've only brought in Sanchez. They've been linked to Schmeichel as well. So I think by the end of the window, Meslier won't be here. Would I be surprised if he rocked up at City? Best believe. I don't think that one happens. I think Ortega will stay put. We've already seen with City they've managed to convince Bernardo Silva, for example. So, look, Ortega looks like he wanted the move, but it's Manchester City, you know. He's played heavily. He's got an FA Cup Finals winning medal and not just a bit part player like Scott Carson. He played the full 90 minutes, you know. And look, I guess a lot of you would have seen this thumbnail and be like, Joe, I mean, you're reaching. But this is from top tier one journalists. And I think the key point for us to remember as Leeds fans is that Meslier is being touted out. His services are being touted out, and the club are clearly looking to move him on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Will Meslier want to be a number 2? We heard him talk in the summer. I'm not going to sit on no one's bench. But when a club like City comes a knocking, could well be that he might get offered to Bayern now. But there's no way he's going to be a number 1 for me at a team that's playing the trade in the Champions League. Not yet, anyway. There is still time for this kid to grow massively. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. As always, make sure you join me at 6 and 9. And yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.